We want to talk about the fires. You're a water expert. You know the water situation in California, Southern California pretty well. And you have been part of the board that has been involved with some of the fires, local fires. What is your assessment of the situation that happened in LA with water running out on the hydrants?
Well, I think there's going to be an after-action report, and they'll find out a lot of things. But in a big fire like that, you're going to have a certain number of dry hydrants because you only have a limited number of hydrants in a system. A little 6-inch line, that's a standard, and you can only move so much water through. And if your reservoirs are out, you can't move more water through the hydrants, so you're going to have empty hydrants. It's just a fact of life. I hate to say that, but it does happen. Now there's some things you can do to minimize the risk. And that's really something I think we need to take a look at on a more global level.
You mentioned reservoirs are being out, and we have talked about water infrastructure. How much of that has to do with us building water infrastructure, and how much of it is just some were out, one was out for maintenance, right?
Yeah, one was out for maintenance. You try not to do maintenance during high fire time, so I don't know why they chose January to do some. Usually the big maintenance is done February, March, where you get a lot of rain. So that's going to be a question that people will ask. But you also need to be able to refill the reservoirs. And in high PSPS areas where they turn off the power, you need to have a backup. So that's where having a backup generator, whether it's natural gas, whether it's propane, whether it's diesel, those are important to have. And so in our district in Yorba Linda, we had a catastrophic fire in 2008. And we had a portion of our district that was served only by pumped areas. And that pump blew out during the fire. And so there were some hydrants that were empty. The firefighters got there and opened up, no water. It happens. So what did we do as a response as a result of that? Two things. We added permanent natural gas backup generators. So even if all the power goes out, you can continue to move the water, because we have elevations in our district from 250 feet to 1390, because that's moving a lot of water. And it's very heavy and power intensive. So you need these backup generators. But the second thing is to have enough reservoirs where you can fill them up and keep them full. So even if you lose all power, you can still gravity feed everything. And so my guess is what they're going to find in that fire is a whole host of things. And this, I'm going to get a little global here and look at things from the state level. Statewide, they don't allow proper management of forests, weed abatement, brush abatement, and so you have buildups around the state. And the example in Yorba Linda, we have the Chino Hills State Park. That's a state park, so you can't do brush abatement there. So it's just dead tinder waiting for a spark. And once it hits, and in a wind, it's going to blow and go through. So I think you probably had quite a bit of that. You had a lot of buildup of this brush, and the state doesn't allow it. Same thing with the forest. It's why other states with big forests that do proper management, they don't have the same issues. Second thing is the state, there's a war against natural gas and getting rid of natural gas. If you get rid of natural gas, you lose electricity. How are you going to move water around? You can't really store enough propane. Natural gas, you have lines going all over the place where you can keep these generators running. If you have a diesel one, that's difficult to refill those as well if you have to run them for 2 or 3 days. The other challenge is, and we've had to put in 4 natural gas generators in the last couple of years, just getting them approved by the AQMD is a challenge. So you have air quality issues. And I would think running a natural gas generator to prevent a fire is going to cut down on emissions far more. But that's another issue. But then you have to go even bigger on the whole water system in this state. We're not building enough storage. We're not building enough facilities. We're not proactive anymore. As a state, we used to be proactive. Governor Pat Brown really was a champion when it came to building infrastructure in this state. If you look at the great water projects in this state, first big one was Hetch Hetchy in the early 1900s. Then you have the LA Aqueduct in 1913. Then in the 1930s, Metropolitan was formed for Southern California. We built the Colorado River Aqueduct. In the 40s, they built the Central Valley Project to bring ag water to Central California in the breadbasket. And then in the 60s, we built the State Water Project, which was mostly completed in 1973. We had 20 million people in the state then. The very top way of, technology-wise, of storing music, 8-track tapes, right, 1973. And I forgot to bring mine to show people because most people don't know what it is. Look it up, Google it. Today, on my little cell phone, I have 9,000 songs. An 8-track tape holds 9, 10 songs at most. Why is it our technology for storing music has advanced in the last 20 years, but our water infrastructure has not changed a bit? And so we had a very robust system, 1973, could move a drop of water, still can today, from the Oregon-California border down to the Mexico-California border. But we had 20 million people then. Today we have 40, so we've doubled the number of people, haven't changed the infrastructure. Think of roads. If we just still had 2-lane highways and we doubled the population, no one could get anywhere anytime. And in an emergency, it makes it even worse. So in the state, we're not building enough storage. We don't have the ability to move water around as much as we can. And most communities, they're telling their customers, stop buying water. Stop watering your grass. Stop watering your trees. Pull it out. Put in AstroTurf. Put in carpeting, whatever it is. Put in native plants. They want people to cut their water usage. And so when you do that, you lose the ability and the abundance that the state is used to. And the thing that I get the most tired of are people saying it's all because of climate change. And to me, climate change is an excuse for not building infrastructure.